Hey y'all, this is Sam with Renegade Soul, and we're doing client interviews. And this is interview number 2. And today we have Shaina Muñoz Sadler with us today. She's probably one of my longest clients. But first and foremost, Renegade Soul, you can reach me at sam at renegadesoul216.com. Visit the website, www.renegadesoul216.com. Phone number 440-373-SOUL. I prefer text to a phone ringing because it's usually noisy where I am. So just text me and we can chat that way. Again, Shaina is with us today, and she is one of
Hi.
my longest clients. And the first question I'm going to ask her so that we could just dive right in is, who are you and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Shaina Muñoz, and I work in the field of reproductive health rights and justice, doing advocacy, strategy. Right now, I work for a foundation, so I help give money to organizations that are doing advocacy around reproductive health rights and justice. And I'm a
Awesome.
mom,
Uh-huh.
schooling my kid at home, and I'm a wife. That's
Anything
it.
else?
Oh man.
So much, right?
Yeah, lots of things. I am someone who is trying to find the joy and positivity during all of this chaos that we're all living in right now. And exercise has been one of the biggest things that's been pulling me through.
Yeah. Say that. Just for reference, this interview is being done in November of 2020. We are dead smack in a pandemic. Our governor is probably going to shut us down again this week. And that's the climate that we're in right now as we do this interview. So everything that she's saying is just like spot on. Like, it's just crazy right now. So how did we meet, Shayna?
We met in grad school, so we were both at the Mandel School, going to grad school for social work. And I think the first class that we were in was Dr. Wilk's class. And I remember you just having lots of opinions, always raising your hand, always having things to say. And obviously, there were probably like a handful of Black women,
Yep.
people of color at all in our class. And
Yep.
so you stood out, and I was like curious about you, and you definitely were a mother figure to a bunch of us there. So that's how we met.
That's awesome. So we met in grad school. We had some classes together. I can recall challenging the white people in the room and you bouncing off of my challenge and vice versa. Like I can remember a time where you were challenging, what white people were saying. And they were like, no, because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, because. And I can recall having those conversations. And I'm thinking of Nixon's class.
Oh yeah.
So I can recall times where we've been in class together and we were in different cohorts because I was in the weekend program, but I
Mhm.
took some of the full-time courses and that's how we were able to connect. I'm so glad of that. At the time it was just hectic, but I'm just so glad of that. So we graduate. Our relationship does continue, right? But then you find out that I'm going to be a personal trainer. What are your thoughts on that? I graduate from grad school, and now you're like, she's about to be a personal trainer. Like, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I remember like seeing, I think, posts on Facebook probably, and you were talking about your own personal training work. And I feel like I maybe saw you posting about like meal plan stuff. And then you started posting like one or two things of training people. And I remember being like, that's interesting. Like maybe um, she would be someone who I would want to work with. Like I always was kind of trying to figure out the thing I could find to help like exercise and anything like stick for me. And so it definitely piqued my interest.
Awesome, awesome. And so then what made you finally come over to Renegade Soul? And I can't wait to hear you tell this story. Go ahead.
Well, so some of you have heard this story before. So Sam was also doing Uber at the
Mhm.
time, and I was managing a youth council, and we had a day long thing in Columbus, and I don't drive on the highway. And so I reached out to Sam to see if she could drive me to Columbus, wait there, and then drive me back. And so yeah, you were doing meal plan stuff because I remember you had like your food in the car with you,
Yep,
and you talked about you found a Lifetime in Columbus, I think, and like worked out
yep.
while I was there. And the whole ride down, you talked about, what you were doing and how you were going to start doing, how you had already started doing personal training. And anytime you would ask me like a question about like, well, do you want to do it? Or like, what's holding you back? And like, I always had a reason, like, I don't have time, I don't have money. You know, I don't know if I could like commit to it. Like for 2 hours down and 2 hours back, I had every single excuse that you could think of, I had for why I didn't think I could do personal training with you. And then at the end, like right at the end, I don't know what was said, but I know you sent me a text and you were like, "Okay, so like I'll see you Monday." And I was like, "Okay." And that was it, like 4 hours of excuses, and then finally I said yes, and we started working
Mhm.
out together.
Now, I would just like to point out that I didn't just get in the car and just start talking to her about fitness. She did mention it beforehand. So when we started talking about it, I was like, "So what are your questions?" And she's, we're engaging in conversation, but every time I'm like, "Okay, yeah, so you could just come train with me." And she's like, "Yep, no." And I'm like, "Wait a minute," scratching my head like, "What just happened here?" 4 hours, y'all. 4 hours. So you start and we meet. This is before I'm at the vault. So we meet at what's the name of
Life
that gym?
uh what was that called? At beach at
At Lyndhurst.
Lifetime.
No, it's not Lifetime.
Lifetime. Um
I forget. It's in Legacy. But anyway, we
yeah.
start and we meet up there. What are your thoughts as you're starting? Mind you, you didn't spend 4 hours telling me all the reasons why you can't and why you won't. So now you show up, and what are your thoughts?
I think I think there was one other person there who came at the same time.
Hmm.
And
It might have been Dion or someone. Yeah.
I think so. And I was like, please don't let me throw up in this public place. And like I knew that it was going to be like weightlifting, but I didn't know that that was going to be like the bulk of what we did. So I was kind of surprised, I think also like that it wasn't because I had done Zumba, I had done more kind of like aerobics classes. So I didn't know that it was really going to be like lifting weights. And so it was different, and I definitely was nervous about just like how I what if I couldn't lift something. I'm definitely a crier, a complainer, so I was like, but I don't want to, complain or cry too much. So I was self-conscious in the beginning of like wanting to prove to you and to myself that I belonged there and that like I was gonna keep coming.
Yeah.
um yeah.
And so you keep coming. And how does your perspective change?
I got more comfortable, I think that like watching you when we would go, like especially there, God, what is the name of that place?
I
Um,
can't
we
remember.
we there's like the area where like the free weights are, and that's where a lot of the like
Mm-hmm.
muscle men guys go.
Yeah.
And watching you just really confidently like walk there, grab a bench, grab the weights we needed, like not pay attention to anyone else. There are plenty of people who go to the gym to like show themselves off, to look for someone to talk to, whatever. But like we
Mhm.
weren't there for that. Like we were there to work out. And so your confidence helped me feel confident that um I belonged there. I could learn the things that like once you know where stuff is, how your what your form should be, how many reps, what weight you should be lifting, like you can do that on your own. Not that you don't need a trainer anymore, but like you can go other days and be confident
Yeah.
and be a person who lifts weights just like the person next to you with,
Right.
huge muscles and a six pack, even if you don't have that.
Yep. That's right. That's right. I remember you were in the middle of a set and something in you had changed and we were upstairs and we were at the cable machine, but you had free weights and you were doing something and you had dug deep. Like I didn't have to say anything on this particular day. You dug deep. And after that set was over, I said to you, what was that? Like what just happened there? And I remember do you remember this? Because I remember you saying,
Mm-mm.
you know, I don't know what that was, but I really like it. Like, I like being here, away from home, away from my kid, away from my husband. I like zoning out. And it was clear, like you were gone. I couldn't even interrupt. I was just like, she got it. You know, she got this.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about that? Because there did come a point, I mean, this was about a month in, maybe even longer, but there did come a point where you were like, oh, this is for me. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, so spring 2021 will be 4 years
Oh
training.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
So when we started, that means I think Mateo, that my son, I think he was about 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I never was someone I was someone who enjoyed like I said, I liked Zumba. That was like the most, and I never was consistent with exercise. And when my son was born, like I just wanted to be with him. And I just wanted to like do stuff with him. I didn't want to even think about like when I wasn't working, leaving him with our parents or my husband or like figuring out the schedule to go to the gym. Like I just wanted to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big deal at that point for sure, carving out, an hour and a half to be alone at the gym after work. Um, it was a big deal. And it was a really different to, like you said, to be alone, to put my phone, to not bring my phone. I still am very, when I'm working out, I put my phone away,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the only time probably that I don't have my phone around me. Um, and I quickly realized like how much I needed that space for myself, and also that like I was strong. Like I knew that, when you go through um pregnancy, you go through childbirth, like you learn a different strength for sure within yourself. And that was something that my husband always said was like, you birthed a child, like you can do anything. Like, um, and so that it really like as I started to get more into it and feel more comfortable, I started to realize like, oh, like I can be strong in this way, and I can commit and show up for myself and do this for myself and no one else. And it's like time in the day that is just for me, that the only thing I have to think about is counting, however many reps Sam tells me to do, and like trying not to pay attention to feeling like, my arms are going to fall off. Like that's it. Um and that's still, I think, one of the biggest things that keeps me doing it, is like it is the time to let everything else go, to
Mhm.
forget about anything else that's happening, and to just like be there, moving your body, sweating,
Yeah.
lifting weights, doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. What's your favorite memory so far? Do you have one?
Oh man. I mean, you know, I've tried to quit Sam I think twice, maybe three, maybe like 2.5 times.
Uh-huh.
And I think I bring that up as like one of the favorite things, because when you become part of this group, and you commit to yourself, and you commit to Sam, and you commit to the other people that are also making this commitment, like it means something. And so it's different than, being like, well, I'm just not going to go to that class today. Like, I'll try next week, or I'll go
Right.
back in a few months. Like, I'm going to pause this gym membership. Like, no, like, you're not, like, that was not an option. And it felt really good for it to not be an option. Like, it felt like, okay, this person believes in me so much that in the moments when I am not believing in myself, or I'm getting ready to make more excuses about why this doesn't work for me anymore, or,
Mhm.
I don't have time for it, you come in and are like, what are you like? No, you're not, like, you're not quitting. Like, I'll see you next week. What do we need to talk about? What do we need to hug and cry about? And like, what do we need to do to get over it, so that you're like right back here doing what you need to do? And that's special, and that's special about you, because there are plenty of other trainers or people who do fitness who would just be like, okay, like I'll get the next client on my client list. And it's more than that to you, and that's really special, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I truly believe that. Like, dude, you're not going anywhere. I'll see you on Monday. We'll do this again next week.
Yeah.
But there's so much at stake here. We're really vested in each other, I think. Like, I want to see you get better and stronger and just be everything that you're going to be, because I already know that that's what you want too. So why would you quit when I know that this is what you want? That's how I feel
Right.
about it. And it's not the same for every client, by the way, but I know that about Shaina, and I know what she wants. And, she's been very explicit about what she wants. And so somewhere along the line, quitting just does not fit into that narrative. So it's like, what? And then the last time I did allow you to quit, but your reasoning was like solid. And then you were back in like
Like
2 weeks.
a week. Yeah.
And that also testifies to how solid your goals are too, though, right? So can we just talk about those goals? Because I don't think that's on the list of questions, or it's what are your goals for the next year or so? But can we just talk about these goals and what has happened over the years? Because we haven't lost a whole lot of weight, and our goals wasn't always weight though. So can we talk about those for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, my goals, I think, continue to kind of shift and change. When I first started, it was definitely, I mean, weight loss was part of the goal, but it was also like, you know, can I get into a routine? Can I consistently show up and do this, when exercise was never, especially in my adult life, like a thing that I did all the time. I feel like after probably a year, it felt like a solid part of, like, I understood the people who would be like, I had a friend who always would be like, well, I can't come to dinner at 6 because I'm going to be at the gym. So like, I'll meet you all there at 6:30.
Mhm.
And like, I understand that now. Like, I don't like to miss a workout. I feel differently when I don't work out versus when I do. Like, I know that and I crave that in a positive way. So
Mhm.
like that goal, I feel like I have accomplished. Like, I can now say I am someone who works out 6 days a week consistently, and like I go hard when I'm working out. Um, I think that um, food has been one of the hardest things for me. I think planning and sticking to a plan around food is probably like the goal that still feels um, unattainable to me. It's just difficult. I'm not good at being in a regiment around that. I have a difficult time sticking to something. I don't like um my husband can eat something and I can't eat something.
Mhm.
So there's things within my own from my childhood, things that I have to work through um to to be able to reach some of those goals around um food and my relationship with food, and how shifting that relationship may most likely then result in weight loss that I've said that I have wanted.
Mhm.
Um and I think that, the other piece is just like being more confident in my body no matter what it looks like. That like I can do a 50-minute spin class. I can do any of the workouts that you send. Like, I can lift heavy weights. I can run a mile. Like, I
Mhm.
can do a lot of physical things, even though my weight has not changed has not gone down since we've started.
Mhm.
But my strength and my endurance and my confidence doing those things has definitely changed.
Now, I remember in that first year, as we were closing that first year, I remember thinking, well, shit, she didn't lose what we wanted to lose. Why didn't she lose? And I was freaking out, but you were like, and I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And you were like, well, don't drop me because I didn't lose weight. And I was like, drop you? I'm thinking you're about to drop me. You're like, no, my goal was to keep it. And I'm like, that was your goal? Like, we were like, I didn't connect with that. And that's one of those things that helped me to understand. Like, you taught me so much about personal training to understand that some people honestly don't think they belong in a gym setting.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even when they aren't losing weight, they're proving to themselves every single day that they show up that they belong in the gym right alongside other people. And I think that's one of the most amazing things that you've taught me, because I don't think that I recognized that before, and that results are different for everyone, right? And so, even though I may harp on, yeah, what did you eat today? Every now and then I just hit her with it, because, the social worker in you did kick in your answer, right? The social worker in you actually dug deep into childhood, talked about, things that you have to deal with. But it's still one of my jobs to say, hey, you're gonna have to deal with this if you really want to get, physical results. And
Mhm.
we're gonna be looking for physical results at some point, like we want to see body changes, but mentally speaking, oh, I just love where you are. And I love the conversations that we can have you know, and don't get me wrong, people. Sometimes she bring me stuff and I'm like, why did she want to talk to me about that? Like, wait a minute, wait. But I understand why she would want to talk to me about that, because physical training is very heavily mentally induced. and we have to connect, right? So I just think that it's really dope that you're that one client that, I learned how to social work and personal train at the same time. And it's the most amazing thing. So thank you for that. What's the best thing you've learned so far?
The best thing I've learned is that two things. The power of women coming together to do hard things is like no other. And that our bodies can do so much more than most of us think they can.
Right.
I think that like that is what the weightlifting aspect has taught me. Like you can do so much more, and sometimes it really does just take someone else there telling you to do it,
Yeah.
for you to try it out and see.
Yeah. And that's pretty amazing. We've had, and I want you to expand on women coming together, because I don't think they understand what the Renegade family is like when we're talking about, these women that come together on Tuesdays and Thursdays before pandemic. Our Tuesday Thursday group was huge. You want to talk about that a little bit? You show up to the gym
Yeah,
and who's all there?
yeah, I mean, to be able to laugh and cry and support each other, to make jokes, to whine about Sam making us do something, to congratulate each other on finishing. I mean, people doing extra sets because you're slower than them and they
Yep.
finished and they're going to sit there and do it with you even though they already did 500 jump squats. Like, um that's powerful and I miss it. I mean, I texted Sam recently. I was like, I feel disconnected. I need to work out with someone, even if it's virtual. Like, I miss it. I haven't been in the gym
March.
since March, and I miss it. And doing the workouts in my basement by myself, there's it's good to still have it and do it, but it's not the same. Like, that
Yeah.
is, the community is almost just as important to me as the workout piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can agree to that. And I saw your text, and then I think that we're going to, especially since it looks like we're going to be shut down again, I think we're going to start to incorporate a buddy system. And that's for mental check-ins as well as workout partners. So yeah, I think we're going to have to do that and move forward, because our family is very strong. Even through, quarantine and pandemic, we've managed to stay very, very close.
Mhm.
So, and I'm really, really proud of that. So, yeah. Any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience, or, advice or anything like that? What do you have?
Um, I think, you know, believe in yourself. I think you need people around you to believe in you when you don't want to believe in yourself. That people come into fitness and working out for lots of different reasons, but the mental piece of it to me is like the most important. I said it before, I'll say it again. Like, I do not think I would have made it through this pandemic so far without already having a consistent exercise to look to
Yeah.
for one way for me to channel my anger, rage, confusion, sadness every day. And I wish that everyone had that because it truly is life-saving.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And she said it best. That's great. Thank you, Shayna. Thank you so much for, one, for being a renegade, but two, for being a renegade for so long. And I don't see us ending anytime soon. So I am just really excited about 2021. Even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. We are very strong, and I'm really looking forward to getting through it all together and coming out on top. We've had some renegades that have been sick, and renegades that have lost jobs, and we've never disbanded. So I just think that, I'm just really proud of what we've built, and you've been there since the beginning. So I thank you. You
Thank you.
guys, you heard it here. This is a Renegade Soul client interview with Shaina Muñoz. And she's been one of the longest clients, if not the longest client, because did Gina come before or after you? I think Gina came
I think
after you.
like right after, yeah.
Yeah. So you are actually the longest client. So yeah, thank you for that. Again, you guys, I can be reached on my website, www.renegadesoul216.com. You can catch me on Instagram at Renegade Soul 216, on Facebook at Renegade Soul 216. Um, my email address, sam at renegadesoul216.com. I can be reached a plethora of ways. Just join us and come be with us. And until the next time, in the next client interview, we'll catch you later. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Shaina, for joining us. Say bye to the people.
Bye. Thank you.